How's it, guys? This video is going to be about breaker blocks and how I use them. So we are going to go over a bearish breaker block, then the bullish breaker block, and the structure that defines them. Okay, so far on your screen it's a bearish breaker block, right? So far a bearish breaker blocks a breaker block, we have to have a high and a low, then a higher high. This high at a low and a higher high. It's a higher high because it's higher than this high. Then we have to have the market to displace and make a lower low, displace below this low and make a lower low. The minute this happens, this displacement happen below this low and creating a lower low, then we expect to have a breaker block in between the high and the low. A breaker block will form in between the leg of the high and the low. So in essence, our breaker block should be found here. Our breaker block would be found between the high and the low. What does that mean? A breaker block is simply not just one candle. It can consist of a one candle, or it can consist of many candles, 2, 3, 4, or 5, depending on the number of down candles before this high was taken, right? How this forms is this works in that it is the opposite of an order block. What do I mean is the opposite of an order block? With an order block, we have a high, we have a low, we have a higher high, then we expect the market to make a higher low than before, displacing to the up and making another higher high, breaking this high. So when the market fails to make another higher high and instead it displaces below this low, it turns the order block that was going to be formed here. If you have another higher high, it turns into a breaker block, and the breaker block will essentially turn into a resistance, and price will fall from here. How I use the breaker block is I like to use the open, no, not the open, the close. The close is it's supposed to be a close because this is a down candle. Either the close or the 50% or the 50% of the breaker block, right? So when you have this is the candle. We have the candle coming to either the close of the breaker block or the 50% of the order block before price falls, right? Now let's go to a bullish breaker block. Okay, guys, with the bullish breaker block, what we have is we have a low, a high, a low, low, and a higher high. We have a low and a high and a low break of structure, or a liquidity sweep occurs here, making this lower low, and we have a higher high by breaking this structure, making a higher high. Then we expect the market to come to retrace in between the high, the low, and the high, and to go up. That's because that's where we find our breaker block. We find our breaker blocks located here. What I like to use here is either the close of the breaker block, or the 50% of the breaker block here. So what this means is after the market making a higher high, we expect the market to retrace either to the open of the breaker block or to the 50% of the breaker block before displacing higher. Okay, now that we know the bearish breaker block and the bullish breaker block, let's talk about the breaker block candle type and how I use them. Typically, we have two types of candle that makes a breaker block. We have a candle with a large body and a candle with a smaller body. With the candle with the large body, I like to use either the close or the consequence encroachment, which is the 0.5% of the of the breaker candle. And with the candle that has a smaller body and lower wicks, I like to use the open to the low. That means I use the wick open to the low. And similarly, I use the low, or I use the 50% of the wick. It's a similar story with this one. Either I use the close of the bearish of the breaker candle, or I use 50% of the body of the candle, and with the candle that has a larger wick, I use the high of the wick, or I use a 50% of the wick. Okay guys, now that we understand the theory of the breaker block, let's look at a few examples. I'm going to start with an example on the weekly time frame. If you look at here, what we have here is we have this high and we have this low. This is a bearish breaker block. We have this high and we have this low. So what we expect the market to come and make a higher high before making a lower low. The market broke the high, making a higher high. This is our low. This is our high. This is our low. Now the market is making a higher high. We expect the market to come and displace below this low and make a lower low. We have a displacement below this low, making a lower low. Now, where do we check our breaker block? We check our breaker block between this high and this low. What are the candles that are looking for? Because if you can check closely, this looks like a bullish candle, so we cannot use this one. So we have only one candle that we can consider a breaker block. We have this and this. So this is our breaker block from here to here. So we expect the market to come and retrace into this breaker block before going down. The market taps into the 50% of the breaker block. 50% of the breaker block. Now we expect the market to close below the 50% and continue going down. As you can see, the market is respecting the 50% of the breaker block. Now the market is going to displace down. Okay guys, our next example is going to be on the daily time frame. Right here we have this high, and so far we have this low. We expect the market to displace, to create a higher high, then come and create a lower low. Our low has moved to here. Then the market made a higher high. Then the market made a lower low. So where is our breaker block here? Our breaker block is here. This is our breaker block. Meaning we expect the market to come into the breaker blocks before going down. We expect something like this. Something like this. We expect the market from this low to come into the breaker block and go. And lucky enough, we also have a fair value gap lining up with the breaker block. So we're gonna use either the open which is just below the 50% of the fair value gap, or we're gonna use the 50% of the breaker block. As you can see, the market tapped into the breaker block. It didn't go to the 50%, but it tapped into the open of the breaker block and also the 50% of the fair value gap. So now we expect the market to go down and attack these lows. This is our current price. Somewhere next week, we're going to see the market attacking these lows, right? For our third example, we're going to use the 1 hour time frame on still on the US 100 Nasdaq. Right? What you can see here is we have this high, and we have this low. So what we expect is the market made a higher high here and displays to the downside, making a lower low here. So we expect the market to come into the leg between the high and the low, and we look for a breaker there. Where's our breaker? Our breaker is this candle. This is our breaker block. This is our breaker block. So what I'm going to use is you use either the open or the 50% of the breaker block, which both of them were hit, right? Then the market displays to the downside. For our fourth and final example, we're on the 1 minute, still on Nasdaq 100. Huh? So we have this high. I would have loved to see this high being taken, but this one still suffices. Also, it's a high because the candle to the left of it is high, is lower, and the candle to the right of it is lower. So it's still a valid high. Then we have this low here. We have this low here. So what happens? We expect the market create a high, the market create a low, the market create a higher high. Then we expect a displacement. Here is a displacement taking out this low, making a lower low. Then where is our breaker block? Our breaker block is here. This is our breaker block. So you either use the open for entries or the 50% of the breaker block. As you can see, the market is respecting the breaker block in that the candle are going into this fair value gap, but they are not closing above this broker block, this breaker block. So you take your entry either on the close or the 50% and write the market low. Okay, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting with future video or any criticism or anything that you can think of that can be improved upon me making this video. Thank you. Till next time. Peace out.